What if you were made completely immortal, dropped into the Roman Empire 10 years before Julius Caesar gets stabbed, and your only job is to survive to the year 2025 without ever showing up in a single history book? Here are the rules. You can't die. Period. Fire, swords, drowning, 1,000-foot fall, getting buried alive for a century, none of it kills you. But you still feel everything. Pain works exactly like it does for a normal person. You can ignore hunger and thirst forever, but the agony of doing that doesn't go away. You also still need socialization, or you'll go insane. You're frozen at age 25, 5'7", average build, and you speak modern English plus just enough broken Latin to fake a conversation. You also know the rules. You know you're immortal, you know you need to stay invisible to history, and you have 2,000 years to figure it out. The catch is the bar for failure. You don't need to become Napoleon to lose. If any modern historian could even possibly find your name on a tax record, a census, a parish register, a missing persons list, anything, you lose. You can use fake names, but a fake name in the wrong archive still counts. And you can't just bury yourself in Siberia for 2 millennia because you'd lose your mind, and a man who can't reintegrate into modern society also loses. So you wake up, it's 54 BCE, you're standing in a field somewhere outside Rome, and the clock starts ticking. 2,079 years to go. The good news is the first 1,800 of those years are weirdly easy. Before the printing press, before mass literacy, before any consistent population records, the average person was a ghost. They were born, they worked a field, they died, and nobody wrote any of it down. You could walk into a Roman village, mumble something about being a traveler from Gaul, and just exist. Nobody is taking attendance. The Roman census did exist, but it mostly cared about citizens and taxable land. And a wandering nobody with no property is exactly the kind of person it ignored. Your real strategy for the first 2 millennia is one word: move. Spend a decade in a village, then walk to the next valley before anyone gets too curious about why you're not getting older. Avoid cities. Avoid wars. Avoid getting conscripted, because a soldier who takes a cannonball to the chest and stands back up tends to make it into someone's journal. Avoid getting too good at anything, because being the best blacksmith in 3 counties is the kind of thing a monk writes down. Be aggressively forgettable. The threats you actually have to manage are mostly other people noticing the wrong thing once. The bad copper seller from ancient Mesopotamia is famous today because one customer wrote a complaint on a clay tablet that happened to survive 4,000 years. That's the bar. One angry neighbor, one curious priest, one bored scribe, and you're done. This is where the immortality becomes a tactical problem rather than a gift. If a warlord rolls into your village and sees you walk off a sword wound, he's going to write to his commander about the magic peasant. So sometimes the answer is genocide. If the only witnesses to your weirdness are in one room and you've got infinite time and a body that can't be hurt, the cleanest path forward might be making sure that room stays quiet. It's grim, but the prompt doesn't care about your morals. It cares about the historical record. The middle stretch, roughly the Middle Ages through the Renaissance, has its own quirks. Parish records start showing up. The Catholic Church begins logging baptisms, marriages, and deaths in a consistent way. So you become a wanderer who never marries in a church, never baptizes a kid, never dies in a parish. You're a tinker, a traveling laborer, a guy who shows up for the harvest and leaves before the priest learns your name. Whole categories of medieval people lived and died exactly like this, and we have no idea they existed. Then the screw starts turning. The 1800s bring proper national censuses, vaccination records, birth certificates, photography. Suddenly, people you walk past can capture your face on a glass plate. You start to need fake paperwork, and you start to need it constantly. The good news is the early 1900s are a kind of golden window. In a lot of countries, you could mail in a form and get a driver's license. No biometric checks, no cross-referencing. A smart immortal stockpiles documents in the 1920s and 30s. Dozens of clean identities, like a doomsday prepper hoarding cans. The last 100 years are the actual final boss. Fingerprints get logged, social security numbers get issued. By the time you reach the year 2000, governments are running databases that talk to each other across borders. Facial recognition is creeping in. Surveillance cameras are everywhere. Every time you take a job, rent an apartment, or cross a border, you leave a trail that some historian 100 years from now could absolutely dig up and notice that this guy looks suspiciously identical to a guy from 1923. The classic escape valve is becoming homeless. The world is full of undocumented people. Sleep rough, change cities every couple of years, never engage with the state. It works. It's also a sentence of about a century of misery, and remember, you still feel everything. The pavement is cold. The hunger hurts even though it can't kill you. And the loneliness, which the rules specifically say will break you, just compounds. The smarter modern play is somewhere in the middle. You're not aiming for billionaire. Billionaires get tracked. You're aiming for that mid-range, invisible rich, the kind of person with a few $100 million quietly parked in a holding company. No social media, no philanthropy, no name on a building. There are reportedly thousands of those people walking around right now, and most of us couldn't name a single one. But honestly, the part of this challenge that's going to actually kill the run isn't paperwork. It's the man. You are a 25-year-old American who liked history class. Now you have to be a 25-year-old American who liked history class for 20 centuries, surrounded by people who all keep dying, watching every friend, every lover, every kid you ever know turn to dust on a regular cycle. The rules say you have to stay sane enough to function in 2025. After 2,000 years of grief on rotation, that's a much higher bar than learning to forge a passport. So can he do it? Technically, yes. The math works. The ancient world doesn't care about you. The medieval world doesn't catch you. The early modern world is forgivable, and the modern world has enough cracks for a careful man to slip through. Whether anyone could actually hold themselves together through the boredom, the grief, the constant low-grade hiding, and the occasional necessary violence is a totally different question. The unkillable, immortal man can make it home. The man who arrives in 2020 just might not be the same one who left.